99.5 KTWH, and I have my guest, Mike Busch, is in here with me. But you're so prompt. Thank you for coming in.
Thanks for having us, Jackie. Really appreciate being here.
I think what is neat is that, can I say you're an old radio dude? Which I just did.
I am, yes.
I mean, you're a former radio dude. I don't want to say old radio dude. But
it works.
And you've got some radio experience, so it's always kind of fun to just, there's always the old stories and the old, and the equipment was slightly different, I'm sure.
Well, we had lots of tubes back then.
Yeah.
And we didn't have the equipment that you have. This is wonderful.
Bruce Holman actually created this out of a box, this soundboard and everything. So we have amazing brains that have people smarter than I that helped get the radio station on the air. But there were tubes. Did they have carts and the pots, actually, the big
huge
round
pots? Yep, and they weren't sliders like you have here, and this looks really, really first class compared to what we had.
Thank you. Do you like the green carpeting? Isn't this
green
a nice?
Carpeting is nice? Yes.
That's our soundproofing. I love it. You just come in green. Why not? And you can we are KTWH 99.5 FM in Two Harbors, and you can contact us at 218-595-6195. And you can always email us at ktwh995@gmail.com. And we're also streaming online at ktwh.org. Beautiful weekend, gorgeous weekend.
Absolutely good flying weather. We had lots of people flying. It was wonderful.
It was windy on Saturday.
Well, Saturday morning was good.
Okay.
Later on, you're right, it was windy.
Yeah, because we took the bike out Saturday, just to get the oil warmed up so we could do an oil change on it, right? Get her all ready for winter. But it was a little blustery on the bike, so I would think the smaller aircraft, you don't want to have that out on a day like that.
No, but it was so pretty. I think people overcame that, and they were looking for the colors, of course, and I think yesterday was probably the peak.
Mm-hmm.
Last weekend was even better, and so we had lots of activity out there, and people overcame the winds, and they were able to get up and down before it got too bad.
Yeah, but it's got to be gorgeous up there. I know we were out walking in the woods on Saturday. My son and I were doing a firearms safety field test, so we had to go through the woods and cross fences and streams and gates and those sort of things safely, and it was just beautiful.
I can imagine.
Yeah. Great day. But then, like the wind today, I'm thinking the leaves are probably going to all be on the lawn.
Yeah. Last night, just before sunset, the wind just went away. We had some great flights right then.
Okay.
A lot of the guys fly just before sunset. They fly what they call ultralights, and they are sensitive to wind. And yesterday they were very happy to have a no-wind condition just before the sun went down.
Oh, wow. Did you go out yesterday or this weekend? Did you fly?
My airplane flew, yes.
Okay. Oh, your airplane flew, but not you?
Not me, no.
Oh, okay.
It's still in a test phase. We'll talk about that.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
All right. I'm talking with Mike Busch. He is the president of the Experimental Aircraft Association. So good stuff coming up here at 8:30. And I want to do Today in History. Do you want to look at some Today in History with me?
Sure.
All
Why
right.
not?
So let's see. We got, I got to get to the first page because it's best to start at the beginning. The one thing that I found on my Today in History calendar that my son and I have, we always like to look, in 1810, a wedding gives rise to Oktoberfest.
Wow.
So we have a wedding in 1810 to thank for Oktoberfest happening.
All that beer. Yeah.
I know. It was Bavarian Crown Prince Louis, later King Louis I of Bavaria, married Princess Therese von Stausen-Hildenbergenhausen, I think. Hildenberghausen. The Bavarian royalty invited the citizens of Munich to attend the festivities held on the fields in front of the city gates. And the decision to repeat the festivities and the horse races every year gave rise to the tradition of the annual Oktoberfest.
Easy for you to say.
Oh, I don't know a lick of German either. But how cool to be, your claim to fame is, hey, my wedding started Oktoberfest.
That would be cool.
That's when you had a really good wedding. It was a success when you know that you gave rise to Oktoberfest. And KTWH is now on the air, online, and on Facebook. Even if you are outside of our signal area, you can listen in anytime. We are streaming live at ktwh.org, where you can hear archived shows, programs, and learn about upcoming events. We are also on Facebook at Two Harbors Community Radio. You can like us and keep up with local events, upcoming shows, and post your own comments while you listen. We like hearing your local voices as well. We're also looking for volunteers. You can always do that and call us at 218-595-6195. And I have with me in the studio Mike Busch from the Experimental Aircraft Association. Thank you so much. Thanks for coming in.
Thanks, Jackie, for inviting us.
Yeah, this is neat. And our friend Seth helped get us in contact with each other.
Yeah, Seth couldn't make it today, unfortunately.
Yeah, and we'll have to have him come in some other time, too. Maybe you can come back and join him and talk some more airplane stuff.
Well, we love airplanes, and that's what we're all about. We're a bunch of aircraft enthusiasts, and the Experimental Aircraft Association embraces aviation activity any way you can imagine it. And so we have a national organization, which is located in Oshkosh, Wisconsin. It's been there since 1953, probably 200 and so thousand members worldwide.
Wow.
It's a worldwide organization with 1,000 chapters, and we're one of them right here in Two Harbors.
Okay. How long have you been flying? I mean, when did you start?
Oh my goodness. Would have been 1966. I was in the Navy, and I was an air crew member, and I decided that flying was a good thing, and so I went down and started taking lessons.
Wow, that's cool. That is really neat. And as far as when you say the experimental, it's stuff that people that you know or that real people have built these airplanes.
We have, and probably something on the order of 1,000 aircraft of that type are built every year and added to the fleet, if you will.
Nationwide?
Nationwide.
Wow.
Yeah.
What is involved? You don't just go to the catalog and or do you? I mean, do you just, I'm going to buy this plane and like a Sears and Roebuck for airplane dudes or what?
Well, it's come a long way. In the beginning, we used to be able to buy sometimes a set of plans. We would make everything ourselves. But the industry has grown, and now you can actually buy kits, which you can assemble.
Mm-hmm.
And this is open to anybody. Anybody can do this. And it's not as difficult as you might think, nor as expensive as you might think. And we're allowed to do this by Congress, who will allow us to build and certify our own aircraft for educational purposes.
Okay. And I'm thinking maybe some new innovations have come out of this over the past...
There have. And local aircraft manufacturer Cirrus Design was in fact started by a bunch of EAAers. I was one of them. And we started down in Baraboo, Wisconsin. And we'd been building experimental aircraft for our own delight, if you will, for years. And we understood things like composites, which were not certified at that time. And so we brought, and others brought forth to the aircraft community innovations. And these aircraft outperform now the ones that you can buy, if you will.
Okay. How big is our Two Harbors chapter? How many folks do we have locally?
Well, it varies. It kind of goes between 20 and 30 active. By that I mean paying dues. We probably have 50 newsletters we send out every month.
Okay. That's more than I would have expected.
Well, we've been around since January of '96, so it's had a chance to kind of mature. And as all these organizations are, they kind of come and go with the flow of people moving and coming and going. But we maintain 20 to 30.
Okay. And then so anyone, any walks of life can do this?
Absolutely. We've got youngsters, we've got oldsters, we've got people in between, people that are working, people that are retired. The common factor is they all have some love of some facet of aviation.
Okay, and we were talking earlier about weather conditions and that sort of thing as far as flying out to get pictures of the colors. Saturday was very, very windy. But you said like last night and this weekend your plane went out?
Yep, it sure did. We flew until just before sunset, and it was just gorgeous.
Did you get pictures?
I got one, but I can't show it to you.
No, radio doesn't hold well with pictures now, does it? No. I'm talking with Mike Busch from the Experimental Aviation Association, and the Two Harbors chapter you represent. You're the president. You're the head dude.
Everybody took a step backwards, and there I was.
You were voluntarily suggested to do that. How long does it take to build a plane? I mean, have you built one?
I've built two. Actually, I've built two and restored two and bought one.
Really?
So it depends on the sophistication. You can do it in as little as 6 months. And in my case, I built a very sophisticated one, which we're now flying, and it took right under 6 years.
Wow. Can you talk about it being sophisticated in plane talk? To me, that's...
Sure.
Okay.
It's got as much communications and electronics radio equipment as airliners have, as an example. It'll fly with two people. It gets the equivalent of about 20 miles a gallon. And as these things go, it's fairly fast. Top speed is about 240 miles an hour.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's impressive.
It is. But not all of them go that fast. We have guys that like to just fly what we call ultralights, and some people have described them as lawn chairs with a motor, but they're topping out at about 38 miles an hour. But it's fun to get in those and just fly because you're right there. You're at one with the wind, and you're looking down on the trees and the birds, and you don't go much higher, and you just fly for fun. And when the winds go down in the evenings, you can usually come out to Two Harbors and see a bunch of them flying, probably an hour or so before sunset. That's the best time.
I bet the lake wreaks havoc on your plans. You decide you want to go, you pack up, you get your, pack up a sandwich, and a can of pop, and you decide you want to go fly, and then does the lake it's got to be an issue.
Well, it is. It can be for weather, and Interestingly, though, on a hot day when you have a lot of hot air coming up, we call those thermals.
Yep.
You can get off the thermals, and if you go out over the water, it's very smooth.
Oh.
And so if you see people, cruising up and down the shore, typically they're looking for smoother air
Okay.
during the summertime. And with altitudes, the bumpiness changes. You can sometimes just go up another 1,000 feet, smooth as silk.
That's
Yeah.
neat how you can try to find it in the smoother parts.
It's really neat, yeah.
Okay. It's kind of like a very learned science, I'm sure. And you go through all that. And
We do, yeah. I've been flying, like I say, for a long time, and I think I've flown 87 different kinds of airplanes, but flying is flying. It doesn't matter whether you're flying a J3 Cub or a jet. It's just being up there.
wow. Thank you. Can we take a break and come back?
Sure.
Okay. You gonna stick around for a while? I've got more questions. This is so
I've got
interesting.
answers.
Well, that's how it works. All right. So we'll be right back. I'm talking with Mike Busch today from the Experimental Aviation Association, and we will be right back on KTWH 99.5, Two Harbors Community Radio. And talking today with Mike Busch of the Aircraft Association. We're just talking nonstop off the air. You're an interesting dude. You've got a lot of stories.
Thank you.
It's really cool.
It is cool to be here.
Well, and I have all these questions I want to ask you. Now, we might have to I can't go past 9 o'clock, but can you come back again sometime and talk more?
Absolutely.
Oh, this is great. So anyway, we're talking about, the building the planes, the experimental aircraft. You've flown, you said over 87 different kinds of planes?
Yes, I have.
I'm stopping out there, going out to the airport. I've been out there a couple times. My mother-in-law's husband, who has since passed, used to fly and land there, and we would come pick him up at the airport. Fly from Detroit. They'd check and see what the weather's going to be between Detroit and here over the lakes. And, we go pick up, Grandpa out there, and it's a neat facility, for one thing. I've only been just in the little office part. I've never been to where all
it's
the
the most beautiful airport in Minnesota. Nonstop. I'll just say that. But it's also an important part of our transportation hub nationwide. It receives federal funding and from other sources too, like the county and the city and the state. And so it is a vital hub of transport. We get all kinds of folks out there. We're coming and going, business people. We have medical flights in and out. We have, when the gypsy moths are there, we stage the sprayers there. And businessmen come and go. We offer fuel and some maintenance up there. It's a very, very nice airport. It's a good family-type airport. We have restrictive fences to keep people out from the aircraft taxi areas so they don't get run over. But it's a beautiful facility. We're proud to be there. There are probably about 40 hangars and maybe 35 airplanes are staged there, or they based them.
Could anyone just, could I take Henry? He's 11, but to show him the airplanes, could anyone just come out there?
Well, most of the airplanes are in hangars, so it's hard to see them unless we have some transients.
We would need a person.
I need a person, and the best way to do that would be to contact our chapter on the website, which is EAA chapter 1128.org, or if you just look for EAA 1128, it'll pop up, and that'll give you the contacts of our officers, and if you want to contact one of us, we could perhaps arrange a tour and show you around. Like I say, most of the airplanes are, in protective custody in their various hangars, and so you can't see so much from the ground unless we can get you inside the hangars. But we do that from time to time. We'll offer what we call an airport barbecue or a pancake during Heritage Days.
Right.
And most of the hangars are open, and you can kind of come and go then. But just to show up out there, it's kind of potluck. We would prefer to kind of corral you a bit.
Right. But as far as just, do you have regular groups? Is there? You said they pay dues? How often do you meet? Are you looking for more people? Or are you?
Well, we are always looking for airplane folks, and we meet the first Thursday of every month at the Two Harbors High School in the community room there. We start about 6:30, and that's a once a month thing. And we have about 20 members, and they're nice folks, and they would be sure to welcome you. We talk about all facets of aviation, and if you're even just interested in, for example, aviation art or even history of aviation or World War II or what have you, those are all topics that we discuss quite regularly. Of course, we also talk about building airplanes, and our typical meeting would involve maybe some hands-on demonstrations, how to do stuff. We have guest speakers that come and go, and it's really a pretty good meeting. We usually don't go past about 8:30 at the Two Harbors High School.
Okay. And could we just come in and go to a meeting?
Absolutely. And
Really?
It doesn't cost anything. If you want to be a member, we sure love to have you. It's $20 a year, which is, I think very reasonable.
Okay. So yeah, we could. So Henry and I could just show up first Thursday of the month at the community center at 6:30.
Yep.
And he could start picking brains of pilots and folks who have built the planes.
You would get to talk to all facets of people. Some are veterans, some are young folks building.
Oh.
We have people that are actively flying, own ready-made airplanes, but many are building also. Okay. So within the building community, you got people that are interested in welding, woodwork, and that sort of thing.
Okay. As far as licensing, do you have? I would think you have to be licensed to get up there and fly. You can't just build one and go.
Excuse me. Mm-hmm. If you're going to fly a certified airplane, you need to be at least a private pilot. Home builts can be flown by private pilots as well, and some of the aircraft are what we would call ultralights. They require no license. These are the little guys,
mm-hmm.
and we have quite a few of those out there. There's also a middle division now that requires a little bit of training, but not a private pilot license to fly. And those are also available in kits. If you want to build them yourself, you can do that.
Okay. How safe are the amateur built, home built air? Because you can always just go find whatever sort of statistics you want to support whatever point of view you have in the world.
That's correct.
How safe are they?
Well, they are on a par with standard general aviation aircraft.
Really?
Yep.
Okay.
And people are amazed by that. But the numbers, if you want to talk statistics briefly, we kill 10,000 people a year on bicycles in this country, 22,000 in cars, and it doesn't seem to matter. When worldwide, we count up all the accidents and fatalities in aviation worldwide, and we can lose a couple of big airliners, we don't even exceed 1,000. So the numbers are quite interesting.
That is something to wrap your head around.
Gives you some perspective. So they're as safe as anything else, and it really comes down to the pilot. Do they fly safely? Are they flying in good weather or bad? That sort of thing.
Okay, so anyone can just go out to on Thursdays. We can the first Thursday of the month at 6:30. And is there an age? I mean, if one wants to get into flying? I mean, I know. What's the youngest? What do you do?
Well, you can't get a private until you're 16,
okay.
Kind of like driving, but you can fly with an instructor at a much younger age.
Is that how you get started? Do you go get a Flying 101 textbook? I mean, what?
Well, usually somebody will give you a ride, and we do that as well. We have a program called the Young Eagles, and we offer free rides to kids who've had a little bit of orientation, usually at school, in science or math, to come out, and we invite them to go for a ride. And the ride is about 20 to 30 minutes. It's a substantial ride.
Mm-hmm.
It's free. The owners of the aircraft pay for that out of their own pockets. It's a helping hand to get into aviation. And we'll give them a ride and sort of orient them to aviation. And then from there they can elect to start flying with a friend, or they can start taking lessons formally. And they can take their check ride or their test when they're 16 and become a private pilot. Wow. There are more advanced ratings that they can get as time goes on, but that's the one that gets you in the door.
Okay.
And people always say, well, it's too expensive. Let me give you a quick comparison. I asked my neighbor, who's got an avid athlete in his family, who's really a good hockey player.
Oh, boy.
And he's interested also in baseball. And so I asked my neighbor, I said, what's it cost to put your kid through, a semester of hockey in Duluth? And would you believe with hockey sticks at $200 a piece and the deluxe bus ride so that they can get fed while they're on their way to the game, the padding, the uniforms, all that stuff. He thinks he's lucky if he gets by at $4,000 a year.
Oh my! I did not know that.
Yep, and baseball is not quite as bad, but there are costs, and that doesn't count the parents having to go maybe to the games away, and they have to put up their own hotel bills, and they can't ride on the bus. Fuel, and so it's substantial. Let me tell you that you can easily get your private license, which is a one-time cost. For life,
not like semesters,
for $4,000 or $5,000, and you can buy airplanes that are completely safe and serviceable, not experimentals. We're talking about certified airplanes that you can fly for $15,000, let's say, or less. I've seen them for as little as $10,000.
Wow! So
for the cost of a beater car, if you will, you can be out there flying. I know kids who actually one of the owners of Cirrus, whose son was learning to fly, and his mom used to have to drive him to Cirrus to get his lessons because he was too young for a driver's license. So he was flying before he was 16.
Wow.
It's pretty interesting.
That is neat. And I think, I I find it interesting. I've been in some small aircraft before, and I find it interesting. I know I am not the temperament or type of brain structure to be a pilot, but I know my son is interested in flying, as I was telling you off air. And it'd be something that, I could go to EAA chapter 1128.org and we could start getting information.
Absolutely. And that'll lead you to the national organization as well. And the national organization is fantastic. It's in Oshkosh, and I would say that anybody that's interested in aviation should make the pilgrimage, drive the 6 hours to go there. They've got a fantastic aviation museum. It's first class all the way. My wife was fairly impressed. She said, "You belong to this?"
Oh,
yeah.
wow.
It's a really neat thing. And, of course, every year during the latter part of July to August time frame, they have the largest air show in the world. And it is truly a huge event. 500,000 people will go there and enjoy it. And unlike some other events I've been to, it's crystal clear, clean. It's a family event. You'll never see a cigarette butt or a piece of paper on the grass out there.
Wow.
10,000 private airplanes will show up. 1,000 show planes will show up. I was at a race at Indianapolis one time, a car race, and it was a 3-day event. And the day before and after, I noticed that the trash in the streets of Indianapolis was nearly knee-deep of popcorn wrappers and hot dog stuff. It was terrible.
Yep.
The EAAers are a very unique bunch of people. They're first class, and we had a guy stop at the hangar yesterday. He said, "I've been to Oshkosh. I didn't know anybody. I was afraid of that, and I wasn't there 5 minutes, and I made 5 new friends."
Cool.
Yeah.
Very cool. So, have you flown at that? The one in have you?
Oh yes. When I was with Cirrus, we displayed there every year, so of course that was mandatory.
Yeah.
And prior to that, I used to go all the time as a EAA president of a chapter. I used to go.
Okay.
Actually, it started out as a convention way back when, but it has become this big air show.
Wow.
So we go there for information. We go there. There are 400 forums every year there, which are the equivalent of a college course, really. The experts of the world will come there and offer you their expertise for free.
This is amazing that we have all this knowledge and this little morsel of aviationness right here in I just made up a new noun, in Two Harbors. And this is at the airport, and then you have your meetings monthly up at the community center. I'm talking with Mike Busch. He is the president of the Experimental Aircraft Association. And pilot stuff, questions. If anyone has any other questions, can they call something? Just check out the website if they want to have
Check out the website. We can email us and we'll answer questions. Sure.
And they can email from going to the EAA chapter 1128.org. There's a place where they could do that.
Yes, our 4 officers are listed there, and you can contact them. I'm happy to answer questions. Sure.
Okay. Before you leave, can I have your phone number too, so I can see about setting up a tour?
Absolutely. We'd love to do that for you.
Okay.
Yeah.
That'd be fun. Thank you so much for coming in. And I've been talking today, as I said, with Mike Busch. And any other questions, you can also email us here at the radio station. I could pass those questions on to Mike as well. And you can email us at ktwh995@gmail.com. And you can also just call in if you have a question. We can take your question at 218-595-6195. That's just about going to do that for us today, and I'm glad you got to see our studio.
This is a great studio, and it brings back old memories from the college radio days.
Yeah. Do you get the itch when you got the headphones on?
I do, yeah.
Yeah.
I want to play some tunes.
Yeah, you can run the board for a couple minutes.
I don't know about that. That's pretty complicated.
If I can do it, Mike, and you could fly planes, I'm sure you'd have no problem doing this thing.
Just give me a couple of flights.
Yeah. All right. We'll test drive you anyway. Yeah. All right. Thank you so much. And we're going to pretty much wrap it up here. And I'll be back again next Monday for the Scenic Route with Jackie Renwald here on 99.5 KTWH Two Harbors Community Radio. Good morning. Thank you for joining us. And I'll talk to you again on Monday.